How much interplay have you had with him about the running backs?
Oh yeah, a decent amount, because we talk about what, things that I saw last year, things that we did, this and that, but also at the same time, I mean, he's bringing a ton of new approaches, new ideas, and that's the way I look at things. None of us are finished products. So I don't just want to talk about, this is the way we did it, so that's the only way to do it. You do that, you're going to get passed up. So I like to hear kind of some of his thoughts, some of his ideas. What was he doing when he was here before? What thoughts? So we've just been able to kind of mesh on those things and, and hopefully, again, come together to keep growing and getting better.
Sorry if you already answered this. I was talking to Charlie. What have you seen out of Brandon and Ross?
Oh yeah, I think it's been, it's been healthy. Is the best way I said it. A nice, healthy, competition in that way. Obviously, Ross, a year later and a year under his belt, you see certain things that are a ton different. Even a ton different than they were middle of last season, just where he is and just the time he spent. So it's exciting to see where he's progressed from a calendar year ago and just in general. And then with Brandon, it's a work. I mean, you get to this point, it's a work, and then what I mean by that is my biggest things I want to see with Brandon is wherever he is, and and he made a couple big plays, but sometimes his biggest thing is not. He's kind of that Phil Mickelson, birdie then bogey, birdie then bogey, at times, because he shows that ability to go birdie holes.
Yeah, we saw that a lot on Monday,
and then it'll be that and then he'll bogey a hole. So it's just getting to a point where he can consistently take that stuff out of it because there's a lot of raw ability there. It's just a matter of getting used to the system, and my biggest thing will be excited about what's the growth from where are we right now. Practice 6, what does he look like practice 12, 13, 14 as we finish spring going into the off season.
Putting on the pads for the first time fully, what kind of improvements have you seen in the offensive line now that they've all 8 of them have worked together for a whole year?
Yeah, I've seen, shoot, it's been, and we just talked about it a little bit. It's been a group that has a lot of great leadership within it. So you see them growing from where they were, not just a year ago, but even during the season. And what I said before is things now, words, signals, everything, it paints a picture quicker for them. So now they're able to play with more explosion, they're able to play faster, they're able to play, even that much more together, so it's been just fun to see that growth at that position.
Coach Wilcox said that no matter where he's been, the offensive line, it's always a very unique group, and they're probably the closest group.
Oh yeah, no question, and they should be. I mean, because if they're not, that's first off, it's the lifeblood of your offense, but ultimately, as a team, you count on, what type of O-line you have to have success as an entire team, and there's so much in terms of calls and signals and stepping in the same direction and being in unison. The best O-lines, when you watch them, it's not always, well, what O-line has the most talent? It's what O-line works together the best. What O-line truly looks like everyone's taking the same steps, and it just looks like, like ballet in a sense, if that makes sense. Everyone's, in sync and rhythm, and that's what, that's what I think Coach Greatwood's always done an incredible job of that, and you just see that with those guys. It's not perfect, but we're progressing to that.
Ballet, you just don't want to see them all in unitards.
Yeah, but I use that term just, I'm just trying to think of what makes synchronized swimming or something like that. I don't want to see them in those either, probably.
I was gonna say, that might be worse.
Something like that.
To get back to quarterbacks, you talked about Brandon and Ross. How about the other guys?
Yeah, like I said, both Chases have done a great job, and they've all gotten a decent amount of reps. A lot of times you don't necessarily see 4 guys getting a ton of reps, but they've earned them, and they're deservingly so. Now, it starts to get cut down. It becomes tougher and tougher in some ways, because you don't consistently play, 4. But in terms of, some of the reps, they've taken good advantage of them, and they were prepared. That's the thing you look at with both, Forrest for not starting any games last year. He came in here and he was prepared going into spring, even without some of that experience. Garbers, being a red shirt and, the role he had, he was still prepared mentally. So you really appreciate that and you respect that about how they worked. And then on top of that, they're doing some great things physically. At the end of practice there, Garber's in there at the end, and Forrest has done some really good things operating throughout spring.
Has there been any sort of separation, any sort of
Oh no, we're not a practice 6. We're just in a spot where, and honestly, we wouldn't open our mouths a whole lot about it anyways. You know, I mean, it's just the reality is no matter what I know you gotta ask, and I gotta say, nope. So that's kind of how it goes.
Now that's ballet.
Right. So yeah, no matter what it is, it's been a good, healthy competition.
At what point do you start, like you said, whittling down those reps to 2 or 3 guys?
It depends. There was some of that today. There was some of that today where it wasn't quite as much as the first 5 practices, and then you just keep going. But you keep having to earn that. You have to just keep earning that as they go through spring. It ain't just like, okay, now you 2 are going the rest of spring. If all of a sudden, we got 4 guys that are competing. So it's something where even if it gets whittled down, it may not. You never know. It may not always be the same 2. Practice 8 as it is practice 12.
We saw Patrick looks like he got a little, maybe fewer reps than he would maybe have wanted on Monday.
He did. He said.
Well,
he did.
It looked like there was a lot of in the third.
If Pat doesn't get all of them, those are fewer than he wanted. So no, but he doesn't ever act like that. But he's just wired that way.
But have you guys sort of started pulling it back a little bit?
I wouldn't say that. We just try to have a strategic plan in terms of how many he's going to get. Not so much pulling it back. It's kind of been that way through the start of spring. Just whatever it looked like Monday, it's probably looked like the other 4 as well.
What do you thought in the third? He
he's
did
doing
get
a good
little
job,
bit of run.
man. He is. He's doing some good things, and he's a good football player. He just is. No matter what position, he's a good football player. You could see that last year, and I'm excited for just who knows. You never know how things go, and he's like I said, for only being 6 days on the job, in terms of running back, he's doing some nice things.
What kind of developments have you seen from Tariq Johnson this spring?
You've definitely seen some things with him. You can already see him. I'm looking over at him right now. Just he's leaner. He's leaner. He's leaner in the waist. He's leaner in some of the hips, so he's moving better. He's moving smoother, getting down the field better. Again, things are painting a better picture for him. Before it was, you see something and you're really having to try and process it. You can never run as fast or come out of breaks as well. And now things are painting a better picture for him, so he's able to play with some speed. So excited about his growth in 1 calendar year. He'd be one of those guys if you ask, who are 4 or 5 or 5 or 6 guys that have changed the most in 365 days. He's up there.
I haven't maybe since we haven't been here, but Vic Wharton, has he had?
Yeah, he'll be back with us next week, and that's more of a team situation.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
All right.